to you by Dodge. Test drive the new 1980 Dodge cars, engineered with room, styling, ride, and handling. By America's full-service bankers, ready to serve you where you see this symbol. By Pioneer high-fidelity components. Pioneer, we bring it back alive. And by Budweiser, for all you do, this Bud's for you.
With John Brody, this is Don Criqui back at sold-out Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City is the world champions of pro football. The Pittsburgh Steelers are set to go against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Steelers on a real tear. They've wiped out their last three opponents, and three good ones. Denver, Dallas, and Washington by a combined score of 94-17. That's how it stands in the AFC East. The Steelers with the best record in the conference. Kansas City was 4-2 at one point in this season. Has lost its last four games. A young team. The Chiefs will be receiving to start the game. A season ago, though, Kansas City almost beat Pittsburgh, losing 27-24. Here's the kickoff. Matt Barr kicks it off for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Horace Belton takes it out across the 25 and gets the ball out close to the 29. A short kickoff by Barr. If the Steelers have a weak point, they don't really have any. It is in the kickoff game, though. Barr has not gotten the ball with any consistency near the end zone.
Talk about weaknesses, I haven't seen any, because he is very accurate inside the 30 or 40 yard line, Don, and that's why they have him. That's what they need him for. They can suffer a little on kickoffs. We see Steve Fuller, the kid from Clemson, coming in to start. He'll call his own plays. They've got pretty good receivers, Henry Marshall being the top one.
Tony Samuels will start at tight end. The Chiefs aligning with two wide receivers to the right. Fuller, quarterback, 3 of Kansas City's 4 victories, and now as the ball is handed off to Tony Reed, a penalty marker goes down. On the first play from scrimmage, it is negated before the snap goes in. So there's a penalty right away against the Kansas City Chiefs. Marv Levy, the coach of Kansas City, says to beat Pittsburgh, you have to force turnovers. They're great, but they have lost 2 games to Cincinnati and to Philadelphia, and in those 2 games, they turned the ball over 13 times, 9 times against Cincinnati. He said, when we can force a turnover, we have to capitalize. To line up at the line of scrimmage and try to beat him, it's not going to happen. Offensive line there, John.
Well, this is the oldest group on the football team. Rudney is the only man on the team that starts that's played over 6 years. So you know it's a young group that backs it to the wall.
Here's a hard hit put on Tony Reed as he comes wide. Coming across for the Pittsburgh Steelers and putting the slug on him was Gary Dunn, number 67, who was in the lineup. So the Steelers are hitting group there. Will force the turnovers. Let's watch again now.
Mention Jack Rudney, number 58 on Joe Green. Seals them off. Their offensive line is not only the oldest part of their club, it's the key today. They've got to move the ball along the ground. Marv Levy is known for not liking to put it in the air. In order to beat Chuck Noll, generally you have to do that.
So it's going to be second down now and about 14 yards for the first down for Kansas City. Opening sequence of downs following the kickoff. No score. Fuller dropping to throw. He's got some time. It's running out on him, though. And Fuller's going to run the football and not very far. He'll lose more yardage. As Steve Fuller, who was a rollout wishbone-type quarterback at Clemson, tries to get upfield, L.C. Greenwood, 68, knocks him down. The Pittsburgh defense, the awesome front 4. 68 is Greenwood, 74 Mean Joe Green, 67 Gary Dunn at right tackle, 76 John Vanazek the right end. They'll alternate on the right side. New people will come in depending on who has what sequence it is. Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, and Dennis Winston are the linebackers now. Winston playing great football on the right outside, 53, was the backup in the middle to Lambert. Johnson and Blunt at the corners, Donnie Shell and J.T. Thomas the deep backs for Pittsburgh.
We've just seen a timeout on the field of play. Little confusion from Fuller's part.
And so Fuller's coming over to get some counsel now from the sideline, and we'll be back at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City in a moment. This is Don Criqui with John Brody, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Temperature about 43 degrees as the world champion Steelers go against the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now, Kansas City has a problem, John. Third down, about 19.
I think the second play of the ball game exposed the kind of problem they might have. A blitzing situation, they still tried to get off a screen pass, and one thing you can't do against the blitz is screen. Linebackers are nailed shut to the backs.
Fuller taking a drop now, steps in and swings it out. Williams has the ball, and there's nothing there. Joe Green catches Mike Williams, knocks him back.
And he's had a lot of opportunity to punt.
Hasn't he? 55 times. Got off a 74-yarder, as you see. Theo Bell is back, and Grupp hits a good one. T. Bell returns just about all of them. Here he comes across the 40. Look out! He goes across the 50 and down to the 46-yard line. Dave Rozenek was down to make the stop for Kansas City. So the Steelers go on offense for the first time, and they'll start out at the Kansas City side of the field. We'll be back in a moment. The action is always fast on NBC Sports World, and here come the Steelers with Bradshaw quarterback. Blyer starting for Sidney Thornton, who has an ankle injury. And Franco Harris, who gets the first play from scrimmage for Pittsburgh and drives the ball inside the 45-yard line. He only got about 2. Don Parrish, the nose tackle, number 61 from the University of Pittsburgh, made the stop along with Art Still, All-American from Kentucky. And Franco Harris slow getting up, but he's up. They're the pass catchers, maybe the best in the game right now, John.
Well, John Stallworth and Lynn Swan, I would say, are the most productive 2 in the game, but I look for Randy Grossman to get a lot of action today because I don't think the cornerbacks are going to allow those wide guys to get open. They're going to double up on both sides, and it's going to necessitate Grossman doing his work.
Well, on 2nd down and 8, Bradshaw has his 2 wide receivers to the left. He goes to the run right up the middle. Down inside the 40 goes Harris, but a penalty marker comes in, John.
Little holding call.
Holding, number 52, offense.
Michael.
There is the most underrated part of the Pittsburgh team, maybe the strongest area. Cole Davis, Webster, Mullins, and Brown, the offensive front.
I don't think they're underrated anymore. Anybody who's watched the Pittsburgh Steelers for a number of years has a great deal of respect for that group.
They might not get the press of number 12 and number 32 and number 88. This is a great football team heading perhaps towards a 4th Super Bowl win of the 70s. A swing pass goes out to Rocky Blyer, and Blyer is hit from behind and driven down to the 45-yard line, so they get back the penalty yard. Sylvester Hicks came up from behind number 75, hit Blyer, and drove in the head for 4 more yards.
Well, Kansas City's personality is to allow the backs to do a lot of receiving because they back their backers off real deep, try to take away the outside receivers. That is contrasting to Bradshaw's style, so it's going to be very tough for him to discipline himself, to lay off to Rocky a little more than he's accustomed.
Right now, on 3rd and about 9, the Steelers go to the 3 wide receiver offense. Jim Smith is in the game. He's wide to the right. Bradshaw lets her loose, and out there is Lynn Swan with a one-hand catch for a first down at the 26-yard line of Kansas City. What a great football play.
Well, they surely defense the thing as well as it could be defense, but they didn't take into account the man can jump 4 or 5 feet off the ground. This is a ball that's really thrown with the intention of if anybody gets it, maybe Lynn. Well, he came down with it. They've got a first down. They're on the move early.
And the Steelers in the recent weeks have been just awesome offensively. They're averaging 5.6 yards a rush over the last 5 games. They lead the NFL with a rushing average of 4.8 yards a crack throughout the entire season. And they're the best in the NFL defensively at limiting the opponent's rush. 3.4 is all they give up to the opposition on the average. Pitch back, here's a flea flicker. Bradshaw throws to the end zone. Stallworth, touchdown Pittsburgh. So the Steelers go into their bag of tricks to get points up early. As Bradshaw on the flea flicker just lifts it into the end zone, and Stallworth is there.
Don, you almost don't expect a team like Pittsburgh to try anything fancy against Kansas City. Here they come on the first series of plays, a little flip back, and credit this play to Bradshaw. He got the ball, and in a very short time got the ball off to Stallworth. It looked like he was the key man in a double play. You talk about Terry Bradshaw being able to do things. That's something I hadn't seen.
Well, the Steelers on their first possession put it in the end zone. 2 great catches. One by Spahn, the second for the score by Stallworth, and here's the extra point up and good by Barr. And so Pittsburgh moves out early with 11:13 to play in the first quarter. The Steelers get their first possession into the end zone. They lead the game 7-0. We'll be back in a moment.
Stanley fist buds for all the people who make the sidelines a part of the show.
Fist buds for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, add just for you that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
The Steelers on the flea flicker. Franco Harris throwing it back to Bradshaw in turn into the end zone to Stallworth. It's a 7-0 game. Here's Horace Belton. He's going to bring it out. You got to do it now, Horace. Once you step out of that end zone, and Belton gets out to the 13-yard line, where some Steelers really wrap him. Earl Campbell ran in from a yard out for a touchdown at the Astrodome, and the Oilers lead Oakland 7-0. And now let's review the touchdown we saw moments ago here at Arrowhead.
Well, Don, it looks like it's very easy to execute as he hands it off to Harris and he gets it back himself. Now watch how swiftly he gets his grip on the ball, throws the ball in perfect timing, really. Gives Stallworth a long way to the inside, lets him take it at his own pace. Touchdown, Steelers.
So now the Steelers, who stopped Kansas City cold the first time the Chiefs had possession, dig in to try to go after that football again on the rookie quarterback, Steve Fuller. They go to the run, and there's nothing there. Joe Green, 75. Jack Ham, 59. All move in. Dwight White now in.
Well, Don, we were talking earlier. It's simple. The burden is on the offensive line for Kansas City. They've got to handle Greenwood, Green, Furness, you name it. Here's Joe Green. He's taken to the inside. It looks like they've done their job. He just peels back, gets the back before he can get to the point of attack. Jack Ham joins in, and they just collect at the ball carrier.
Joe Green, who was really the pivotal player in the first draft for Pittsburgh back in 1969, Chuck Noll's first draft, built the defense around him. Now, Tony Reed tries to go wide, turns upfield, hits out to the 20. On a 2nd and 9 play, he gets out for about 5 or 6 yards. Detroit has gone in front of Tampa Bay at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Bo Robinson, a 6-yard touchdown run for the Lions. So the Chiefs, John, finally get a gainer. They needed that.
Well, that's the style of play that they would like to enjoy throughout the day. We see Jack Rudnick standing up. He's got to get his group, as they did on that play, Getty and Simmons moving people off the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 3 now for Kansas City. Fuller takes a drop back to his 11. And Aaron throws, trying for Mike Williams on the outside, and now they'll punt the ball again. NBC Sports World is coming up next Saturday. The Muhammad Ali Boxing Club, with people like Davey Armstrong scheduled to compete, will be going against the Mexico Boxing Club. Plus, you'll see the bruising sport of barrel jumping and some semifinal action in the Legends of Bowling. That's all next Saturday on NBC Sports World. Bob Rupp in to punt again now, standing back at his 5-yard line, and T. Bell standing back alone for Pittsburgh at his 40. Rupp gets into the ball very nicely again. He's kicking into a gusting wind. It holds high and comes down. T. Bell starts down the sideline with a penalty marker down. T. Bell goes out of bounds across the midfield line on the Kansas City side of the field. This is a doubleheader day on NBC. And coming up on most of these stations from Mile High Stadium, the Patriots and the Broncos, both standing at 7-3.
Well, New England and Denver right now, as are 4 other clubs, just trying to get in a playoff position. They've almost conceded one to Pittsburgh. They're leading their division by only 1 game, 2 people in hot pursuit. But to me, I think this week could dictate a lot of disparity. There should be a lot of teams taking off, getting into the playoffs, playing better than they have throughout the first part of the year. And I think some might be starting to realize they haven't got a chance to get in the playoffs, and the rest of the year may be long.
Holding number 27 on the return. First down.
So the Steelers are set back with a 2nd penalty, holding on the return against Greg Hawthorne, the rookie back from Baylor. They think is going to be a great fullback when he gets in there regularly, which might not be for some time as long as Frank was playing football. And Bradshaw, 3 for 3 in the game for 56 yards and a touchdown. Looking again, he wants some points early, and going down the field is Stallworth, who was the leading yardage receiver in the NFL. Stripped to the ball. And he says to Gary Barbaro, good job.
Well, Barbaro's playing a free safety. I think you'll see him playing center field throughout most of the day. And it's unique because they're trying to get 5 men in on Bradshaw, so they take away some of the time he's been given to throw. You can see no one was within 2 or 3 yards of him. It really puts pressure on the defensive backs. Now, this is perfectly defense, and Stallworth almost comes up with it anyway.
Stallworth comes into the game with 47 catches, and he is the number 1 yardage man in the NFL. Here is Miami moving out in front of Baltimore by Greasy threw to Nat Moore for 18 yards and a Dolphin touchdown. Chuck Noll said to us before the game that You can't walk into any ballpark and think you got it won by showing up. We might have thought that last year in Kansas City almost beat us. So we respect any team we play. He doesn't like all this talk about this being the greatest team ever. He said, let's wait till the season's over and see if we're great enough to win a Super Bowl. We've had 3 teams that were that good.
He's always let things speak for themselves. Maybe that's why they're as good as they are. As Rocky Bleier picks up 4, Seattle takes a 7-0 lead over Cleveland. Now, that's a big game for Cleveland today, and Seattle's a little tired of getting their buns burned.
There you have it. Cincinnati now moving out over the San Diego Chargers. The Chargers going into that game a favorite. Currently tied with Denver in the AFC West for the lead. Now the Steelers come out 3rd down and 5 for Pittsburgh at the Pittsburgh 47-yard line. Wide receivers to either side as Bradshaw takes a deep drop. They give him time. He lets it rip. Swan goes way up. It's intercepted. The ball is picked off. Herb Christopher has the football. Milton Carter takes it back and brings it over the 50-yard line, and it's an intercepted ball. They'll rule he stepped out at about the, well, we'll see where they spot it down, somewhere inside the 50, but Kansas City has the ball back on a turnover. All right, says Coach Knoll to quarterback Bradshaw, but Kansas City now has its best field position.
Gets these guys organized.
M.L. Carter was the guy who picked off the ball, and now Kansas City goes 1st and 10 at the Chiefs' 49-yard line. Fuller takes a drop. Here's a blitz from the strong safety. He didn't get him, Donnie Shell, but Jack Ham coming did. And Pittsburgh has the football right back.
All right, they fooled the young quarterback in the first series of plays with a blitz on 2nd and 14. He couldn't execute his screen. This time it's a play-action pass on 1st down. He does not expect Donnie Shell to safety blitz. Shell fools him again, makes the sack, and they get a turnover.
I tell you, John, you don't have much time to count your winnings, do you, against Pittsburgh?
Well, when you have a play-action pass, your back is really to the blitzer. So when you set up, he doesn't expect to see Shell in his face. Then Ham gets a good piece of him. Shell gets the ball, and they've got it again.
Jack Ham stripped the ball, and so Pittsburgh has it back after turning it over. 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line of Kansas City. Franco Harris goes up the middle. The yards come tough against a good young Kansas City defense led by number 67, Art Still, the second-year man from Kentucky.
We're not more than halfway through the first quarter.
Marv Levy checking in with the upper deck now. As Art Still, Don Parrish, and Sylvester Hicks are across the defensive front for Kansas City, challenging Franco Harris. He outruns him, dipping to the outside. And Harris takes the ball all the way down inside the 20-yard line of the Chiefs. Gary Green, the left corner, finally ran him out. Whitney Paul, Frank Manomaliuna, Gary Spaney, and Thomas Howard.
Well, they've said for so long that, Randy Grossman, because he's small, should be suspect as a blocker. But he does his job at the point of attack. Larry Brown and Jerry Mullins also create a space, and you see the effect of it.
Grossman has picked up markedly as a blocker. It's one of his strong suits. Now they rate him almost as good a blocker as they do a pass catcher.
He's a fine tight end.
Not big, but he plays good football. And every dimension for Pittsburgh at the tight end. Cunningham is in the game now, 89. They go back to the run to the Steelers, and they go to Rocky Bleier on a 1st down and 10 and gets it down inside the 20-yard line. The Kansas City defense is young, but it's given up fewer points than any team in the American Conference. Art Still, Don Parrish, Sylvester Hicks, the front 3 in a 3-4 alignment. The linebackers, Whitney Paul's a good one, 53. Mano Maliuga, rookie out of San Jose State, starting at the left inside. Gary Spaney, second-year man, is a good player, 59. Howard at the right outside, 52. It's 2nd down and 6 now for Pittsburgh. Steelers lead 7-0. Bradshaw into the end zone. Swan, and the ball's knocked away. Well defended against by number 41, Herb Christopher. 3rd down and 6 for the Steelers at the 17-yard line of Kansas City.
All right, this is Kansas City is trying to get Franco Harris to pick up Howard, the linebacker. You see they're rushing with 5 men. It puts an extended burden on the defensive backs. When you're 1-to-1 with Lynn Swan, you've got your job cut out for you.
That time the coverage was excellent. You see the defensive secondary. Gary Green, a former number 1 at one corner, M.L. Carter at the other. Herb Christopher and Gary Barbaro. It is 3rd down and 6 now for Pittsburgh. The Steelers lead the game in the first quarter, 7-0. Running wide is Anthony Anderson. Number 33 takes it down to the 15-yard line, and the Kansas City Chiefs stop. The attempt for a 1st down on 3rd down carry. Whitney Paul, the left outside linebacker, 53, made the stop for the Chiefs. And so Matt Barr comes out to try a field goal for Pittsburgh. John?
They forced the Steelers to kick a field goal. They've got to get the ball in better field position and then hang on to it if they're going to get back in the ball game.
Barr is 7 for 15 in field goal attempts this season. This will be a 31-yarder. Colquitt holds. Kick is up. Looks to be there. And the Steelers are up with points again. In 2 of 3 possessions, they have scored, and they now lead the game 10-0. We'll be back at Arrowhead after this.
That is incredible. You're putting me on.
Turn his 3rd kickoff now for Kansas City. Matt Barr set to kick off after just hitting a 31-yard field goal to extend the Steelers' lead to 10-0. Barr hits the ball high. Belton takes it at the 5. 10, the 15, the 20. Belton goes with his head down hard. He hits into Zach Valentine, first-year player, and there's another penalty marker down.
Out there in the area of Mel Blount. Don't know which way it went, but there were three Chiefs trying to take care of Blount on the play.
NBC brings 2 spectacular suspense movies to TV for the first time tonight. Al Pacino stars in an unforgettable role, Dog Day Afternoon. And tomorrow night, Gregory Peck and Lee Remick star in the thriller The Omen. Dog Day Afternoon tonight, The Omen tomorrow night. 2 thrilling television events, both on NBC.
Down in Houston, Stabler has just thrown to Raymond Chester, who's having a fabulous year, 23 yards.
47.
It was on
First
Mel
down.
Blount. He had to do something when 3 people are after you. Game gets a little tough.
Hey, those Steelers put some good people on their kickoff teams, don't they? All pro cornerbacks, everybody gets in there.
They realize the importance of it. You know, they don't back off because you play first line as a defensive cornerback doesn't mean you're not an outstanding player on special teams.
Fuller pitches back. Mike Williams turns the corner. Ham was taken out, and that gave Williams room to operate. He get across the 35 on a first down carry, and out close to the 39-yard line. Jack Lambert, 58, the middle linebacker, finally knocked him down. So the gain was 8 yards on the carry by Williams, and that makes it 2nd down and 2 for Kansas City. Oakland and Houston, a very important game. Houston, of course, contending in the AFC Central Division with Cleveland, both running a game behind Pittsburgh at the outset of today's game, and Oakland looking for a spot in the West.
Well, that game really sets up when you talk about matchups. You can throw against Houston, that's what Oakland likes to do, and you can run against Oakland, and that's Houston's strong suit.
Mike Williams carries again on 2nd down and 2. He was knocked down by Jack Ham. At the end of the first quarter, there is no score in Buffalo, or in New York, actually. The Bills and the Jets playing at Shea Stadium in New York. Fuller has had some critics who say he doesn't seem to have a good arm, but his coach, Marv Levy, says he doesn't have good mechanics setting up yet and delivering the ball from the pro pocket. He was a rollout quarterback. He does have a good arm. You're going to see that as time goes on.
And you can only find out if you allow him to play.
Well, he's going to be in there the rest of the way. They're going to go with the rookie, Steve Fuller, a Rhodes Scholar candidate last year at Clemson. Rangy quarterback, 6'4", 205, who can run. Ran 18 yards for a touchdown last week against San Diego. Arnold Morgado gets the carry now. Runs into the left side of the Pittsburgh defense, is thrown back. J.T. Thomas, 24, came up. Dirt Winston, 53, was there. You're going to get hit more than once when you run at the Steelers. But the first down carry is there, and the Chiefs have their first down and sold out. Arrowhead gives them a salute. 78,000 here. Sunny day, 44 degrees at kickoff time. Hard line. Each club has turned the ball over once. Bradshaw is intercepted on the first play from scrimmage. Kansas City fumble. Running wide is Tony Reed. Looking upfield. He slipped one tackler. Joe Green knocked him down. He got up to about the 47-yard line.
You know, people early, when Dirt Winston came in as the outside linebacker in replacement for Robin Cole and Lauren Taves, people were saying, hey, if there's one place that might be vulnerable, it's this outside linebacker. They gave him a problem for a couple games. Cincinnati and Cleveland both scored a lot of points. But since that time, he might be playing as well as anybody on the whole Steeler defense. They made 4 yards. That's a very long gain against Dirt Winston in the past 3 games.
You're not kidding, it is. Any game, you're usually playing on your own side of the line of scrimmage against the Steelers. Kansas City was throughout its early possessions. Now they're starting to move a little bit. Here they go to the run again. And the carry by Mike Williams is across midfield. He got about 3 on the 2nd down and 6 carry. We'll watch it again.
Number 53, Dirt Winston. Playing the outside. They figured they got 4 one time. Let's try him again. Tony Reed gets a block at him at the point of attack. He kind of doesn't get much ground. As a result, the linebackers collapse in and make the stop after about 2 gains.
Early in the season, teams did well running right at the Steelers. Then the Steelers shut down that running game of the opposition. They've given up almost nothing in the recent weeks. Handoff goes. Tony Reed, a Colorado back, looking for room. He's quick, starts ahead, and actually got back to the line of scrimmage and maybe a yard more. And a 3rd and 3 carry, he's short. And so the punting unit comes back out, led by Bob Grubb.
Joe Green made 2 outstanding plays. First, he forced Reed outside wide and made him cut back, and then he caught him after he did so.
And T-Bell goes back now looking for his 3rd punt return on 4th and 2. Bob Grubb in the game to punt. There is T-Bell from Arizona. And Bob Grubb, who was cut twice by the New York Jets, came to Kansas City as a free agent, leads the NFL in punting, over 45 yards a punt. And he gets a lot of work. The punt downfield, T-Bell takes a look at it, and he lofts it dangerously, fumbles the ball. Let's see, there's a game. Right on, look who's down at the 17-yard line. Inside the 15 now. There's going to be 4 people on it.
It just doesn't matter because he wasn't given an opportunity to catch the ball.
Penalty marker is down.
This is a surprise. When you're a punt returner, you just don't expect this to happen. The fans at Arrowhead are booing, but Jackson gave Theo Bell no chance to receive the ball. As a result, took the Steelers out of their own area.
Total offense, John, so far in the first quarter, the Steelers, who lead 10-0, have 91 yards. Kansas City just 7 yards. We have 1:58 to play in the first quarter. Don Criqui with John Brody at Arrowhead Stadium.
Fair catch, interference against the kickers. First down.
The Steelers scored on their first possession on a flea flicker pass. Terry Bradshaw throwing to John Stallworth, 26 yards and a touchdown. Then Matt Farr kicked a 26-yard field goal. And so now, late in the first quarter, it's 10-0 Pittsburgh, and the Steelers have the ball again. Lyer carries, and there's not much there on a 1st and 10 go. He gets to the 30, got maybe a yard. Dave Lindstrom, a 2nd-year defensive end from Boston University, and Ken Kremer, a rookie from Ball State, were on the stop. Cincinnati, a surprising team that you recall routed Pittsburgh at one point in this season. Leading favored San Diego 14-0. Ray Griffith just returned an interception, 95 yards for a touchdown.
And that gives Oakland a chance to get a little bit closer, and I know it's got to pump up Denver.
It'll be 2nd down and 9 now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Leading the game 10-0, 1:19 to play in the first quarter. Franco Harris takes a look. Starts to go outside. He's knocked down at the 31. No gain on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Ken Kremer and Dave Lindstrom again on the stop. Franco comes into the game with 672 yards, averaging 4.7 a carry. But in the last 5 games, he's been up almost 6 yards a rush.
Sometimes, Don, these statistics get a little bit misleading. Now, he's had 3 runs this year that were longer than any run he had last year, and those were all in the last 4 or 5 games. So that does pump up your average a bit.
Yeah, he has the 71-yarder against the Cleveland Browns we saw. It's 3rd down and 8 for Pittsburgh. 3 wide receivers in. Bradshaw looks long, pumps and throws. Stallworth has the ball. And John Stallworth loses it. He caught the ball, took it downfield, fumbled it, and the official signals apparently that he got it back. So Stallworth now has 900 yards receiving this year in the NFL to lead the league. 2 catches today, 1 for a touchdown.
Don, they try and get one of the men, either Stallworth or Swan, man-to-man. They put them both on the same side in sure passing situations, and they do so that they can create that situation. That time Bradshaw picked out the right man, hit Stallworth on the dead run, and they've been getting big play after big play for the past 4 or 5 weeks.
And the gun sounds before the Pittsburgh Steelers can go on offense. 1st and 10 once again. That's the end of the first quarter. The score is the Steelers 10, the Chiefs nothing. And we'll be back after these messages from your local station. Kansas City with a temperature in the 40s, a clear sunny day. 78,000 at this game, a sellout as the world champion Steelers have the ball 1st down and 10 at the 47-yard line of Kansas City. Opening play of the second quarter, and the Steelers lead the game 10-0. Franco Harris gets the call and gets down to the 45-yard line. A gain of about only a yard. Gary Spaney, 59. One of the inside linebackers on the stop. Scores. Campbell a touchdown run for Houston. Stable to Raymond Chester for Oakland. Tied 7-7 at the Astrodome. Bo Robinson, 6-yard run, Lions, 7-0 Detroit over favored Tampa Bay. Greasy to Nat Moore, 18 yards, a pass play, touchdown Miami 7, Baltimore 0. End of the first quarter, Buffalo and the Jets scoreless at Shea Stadium in New York. Washington and St. Louis tied up now. The Otis Brown scored. We'll be getting to some more scores after this play. 2nd down and 8 Pittsburgh. Bradshaw back to Franco, upfield, and the big guy from Penn State crashes down to the 43-yard line. Art Still 67, and Gary Spaney hit him. John Riggins ran one in from Washington from 7 yards out. The Otis Brown for a yard. And a touchdown for St. Louis, tied 7-7. Sherman Smith, a 6-yard run. Seattle leads the Browns at Cleveland 7-0. And Cincinnati is leading San Diego 14-0. Keith Johnson on a 1-yard run, and Ray Griffith on a 95-yard interception return for the Bengals. It is 3rd down and 6 for Pittsburgh. The ball at the 43-yard line of Kansas City. 3 wide receivers in as Bradshaw takes the deep drop. In the flat, up in the air, and down with the ball is Jim Smith. Wide receiver out of the University of Michigan, Herb Christopher, drilled him. But Smith, with his back to the defense, holds on for another Steeler first down.
I guess people have been so, enamored with Terry Bradshaw over the past couple of years, but more than anything, he picks the right receiver so often. They've got the other receivers, except for Jim Smith, covered and double covered. Nobody was open except for Smith. Bradshaw just allowed Smith to get open, put the ball where it had to be thrown. They pick up a first down, and on we go.
Smith is a terrific football player. George Welsh, the Navy coach, called him the best college receiver he ever saw when he was at Michigan. Bradshaw fires and gets his tight end, Danny Cunningham, and the big guy from Clemson just muscles his way down to the 5-yard line. Or down to the 15-yard line. It's going to be another Steeler first down. Pittsburgh team, John, is so good, it's almost like a coach's film out there watching him.
Well, that was. They really tried to put a little added pressure on him. They got to Bradshaw, made him move around. He starts to move. Generally, when a quarterback is harassed back there, he doesn't put his attention on his receivers. This time he ducked under, took one step, looked up, saw Cunningham, and away we go again.
Bradshaw setting his team down now. First down and 10 at the 15-yard line of Kansas City. Early in the second quarter, the Steelers lead the game 10-0. Franco Harris behind that strong center. Mike Webster, the guards, Davis and Mullins. The tackles, Larry Brown and John Kolb. Pittsburgh coming off the ball to get 4 yards, winning the line of scrimmage. Don Parrish was on the tackle.
The offensive line, Sam Davis, Mike Webster, Mullins, they just move people out up in the front. They haven't been doing it too well in running play situations until they got down to the goal line. This time they just move them back for about 4 yards.
And the Steelers start to mount yet another challenge. In the last 3 weeks, in beating Denver, Dallas, and Washington, they outscored those 3 top NFL clubs 94-17. Whoop. Larry Brown, the right tackle, might have come out early. A little muscle in that front line of Pittsburgh.
Larry Brown, it's been stated in
False start, offense.
Joe Gordon mentioned that Larry Brown really feels comfortable now playing tackle. He played tight end for 6 years, played it very well, but his natural position is at tackle, and he's come on to be one of the finest in the game.
Brown can pump that iron. 3 of those front linemen for Pittsburgh bench press over 500 pounds, Kolb, Webster, and Larry Brown. That helps if you can play football, too.
And there aren't any 500-pound defensive ends, so you've got plenty to work with.
Bradshaw is 6 of 9 for 106 yards and a touchdown. He was intercepted once, you recall, by M.L. Carter. Bradshaw's looking at that end zone again. That's up for grabs. Lynn Swan running a post pattern, but could not get to the ball. Gary Barbaro defending again. Swan isn't that big, John, when you get next to him. It's kind of surprising. He's about 5'10", weighs 173, but I guess he can get his feet about 5 feet in the air.
Yes, and I'll bet Gary Green and M.L. Carter feel like he's plenty big enough. Once he's got a football uniform on, his size seems to expand about 40 pounds and 7 inches.
You almost have to foul him when he goes up in the defense to get the ball because he can get up higher than anybody else. 3rd down and 11 now for Pittsburgh at the 16-yard line of Kansas City. Bradshaw takes the drop, looks in the end zone again, fires it. Swan, did he get in? Touchdown, Pittsburgh. What a spectacular play. 2 unbelievable receptions in this game by Lynn Swan.
It was a great catch. Oh, Gary Green had him covered all the way down the field. Bradshaw threw it about the only place this ball could be completed. I think Swan helped himself a little bit by hedging Green off, didn't allow him to get as deep in the end zone as he would like to have. You can see there's a pretty good distance between Swan and Green at this point, and I think Swan helped that situation with his hands a little bit, but we don't catch them all. That's a touchdown for Pittsburgh.
It is indeed, and the Steelers go in front 16-0 with 11:19 to play in the first half. Matt Farr's extra point is up and good. So the Steelers take command of the football game as they've been doing against all their opposition recently. 11:19 to play in the first half, and Pittsburgh leads the game 17-0. It'll be kicking it off again when we come back. Thank you, Bryant. Big game down there in the Astrodome. We'll be switching down there if this game gets out of hand. Take a look at some of that action. Right now, the Steelers lead 17-0. Here comes Horace Belton, his fourth kickoff return. And he gets it out to the 22-yard line. So Horace is getting a lot of work. Anthony Anderson came down on special teams. There's a man with all his Steeler regalia.
What you call a real terrible towel.
Isn't it? I've seen some of those real terrible towels, those yellow ones they throw on the field. Got a few of those today. Look at here. Steelers going 71 yards in 10 plays, 16 yards. Bradshaw to Swan. Bradshaw with 2 touchdown throws in the game. So Kansas City tries again, 1st and 10 at the Chiefs' 22. Fuller sends in, fires, and he drills it off the hands of one of his backs, Tony Reed. A little too much on it. Marv Levy not too happy with the way that turned out. His man was open coming out of the backfield. Thought that Reed should have had the football. Another big weekend of action coming up next Sunday, an NFL doubleheader day. Start the day with NFL 79. They'll examine the knee injury on the NBC pregame show. Included in the action, the Jets in Chicago at Soldier Field, Miami at Cleveland, a very important game. Baltimore at New England. Pittsburgh goes to San Diego. That should be a good one. Kansas City at Oakland, Denver at San Francisco, Cincinnati at Houston. Back to the live action now on 2nd down and 10. Tony Reed is knocked down at the 22-yard line. Dennis Winston, 53, got him. Dirt, they call him. The name got its origination one of 2 ways, because he was always down in the dirt playing that hard football at Arkansas, or because he sometimes skirted the rules.
I don't know if he skirts the rules or not, but he stopped people at the line of scrimmage. That play looked as if it was going to break. It looked like a pretty well-designed play. A draw play I wouldn't say would be too effective against the Steelers at this time until they can throw it a little more effectively, but at this time, nothing is.
3 wide receivers in the game now, as Kansas City goes for 3rd down and almost 10. Swing pass goes out to Reed. He's got some room to operate. 1st down and more. He turns to the outside, and Reed gets to the 35-yard line. So Fuller looks the defense over, finds a man swinging out, and the Chiefs on a 3rd and 9 play get the 1st down.
Simple little crossing pattern with their backs coming out of the backfield. The 2 of them ran right by each other. The flow caught the linebackers going with the other one. He laid it off to Reed underneath. He picks up a 1st down, and to me, Don, Pittsburgh is playing with a whole lot more intensity than I thought they would.
Well, their real motivation more than anything else right now is the home field. Now, when you're as good as Pittsburgh, without being overconfident, you can talk about the playoffs. They know they're going to be there. And anybody has to go to Pittsburgh in December and tries to beat the Steelers, I'll tell you one thing, you better bring your lunch and some help.
What are they, about 55-7 in the last 5 or 6 years?
Well, since 72, since they started going to the playoffs, John, I think they're 55-8 at home. And in the playoffs, you can kiss it goodbye, because they just tear it up.
Well, they're not at home today, and they're rather impressive to me.
Bum Phillips said it best, Houston coach. He says anybody in this league planning to go to Pasadena for Super Bowl 14 better make travel plans to head through Pittsburgh, because you have to go there first. And that's one place Houston doesn't like to go. Right now, the Steelers giving up a 1st down to Kansas City, though, and that swing pass dig in on defense. The Chiefs have the ball 1st and 10 at their 35-yard line. Fuller with wide receivers to either side. In motion comes Henry Marshall. Back to the run they go. Horace Belton follows some good blocking. They use that wing blocking, power blocking up the right side, and drive the ball out to the 39-yard line. A gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Jack Rudnay, the veteran center, led the blocking for Kansas City. That's the problem. Not enough yards. They don't give up that many. But Kansas City's had trouble generating offense. And in their next draft, the speculation here is they'll be drafting for the offense, Lig.
I think so, and specifically at wide receiver. They've had a few of their outstanding ones get hurt. Walter White hasn't been healthy all year long, and they do need a few more.
Speculation, too, that they could go for Brad Buddy, the All-American from USC, who's a son of Ed Buddy, the former All-Pro for Kansas City. 265-pound guard. Jack Lambert and Dwight White combine on the tackle. Arnold Morgado from Hawaii takes the ball out across the 40-yard line, out to the 43. It's going to be 3rd down and 2 coming up as the Steelers align on defense, clap hands, and come out of it. Another thing that motivates these Steelers, John, is you have to be good to be in the lineup. Look at the linebackers here.
You got that. Robin Cole and Lauren Taves could be playing a lot of football almost anywhere, and they can't get in the lineup because Dirk Winston came in and took the job away.
3rd down and 2 now for the Chiefs. They go to the run. Morgado turns upfield, and he's got the 1st down. Arnold Morgado puts his head down, gets across the 45-yard line. It's a 1st down for Kansas City. So the Chiefs now get consecutive 1st downs, and that's a lot in this game against a very dominant Pittsburgh defense. The Steelers lead the game 17-0. Joe Gordon, the Steeler publicity director, listed some of the achievements of this Pittsburgh team this season, and it's unbelievable. They're averaging over 31 a game their last 3 times out against 3 of the best teams in the league. They lead the league in scoring with 264 points. Their rushing average the best. Their defense against the rush the best. Here's the throw by Fuller. It's caught by the tight end Samuels. And Tony Samuels crashes down inside the 40-yard line of Pittsburgh and down to the 35. Samuels, a 235-pounder from Bethune-Cookman, goes up in the air, gets it. The biggest gainer of the day for Kansas City. John Brody.
Well, it was an outstanding individual effort by Tony Samuels. The ball was thrown high. You can see he gets right in behind Lambert. As it's thrown, he has to leave his feet. A man just an inch shorter could not have come down with the ball. It's the sort of play that Kansas City has to execute in order to get back in the ball game. They've got to have the luxury of a few 1st downs to be able to run or throw.
On 1st down, they go back to the run, and Arnold Morgado, not wanting to give up the ball, wraps both arms around it and drives down to the 32-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A gain of 3 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for Kansas City as the Chiefs start to move the ball.
Pretty good drive, John, and I really think this is one of the advantages of being able to call your own plays. If you're a quarterback, you can dictate the rhythm of the ball game. Here's Fuller now. He's a young kid. You're playing a team like the Steelers. He's got to be in awe of them. But you get a few 1st downs. You can get guys back in the huddle. You can get them out quickly, and you can start dictating the tempo in a drive. And I think that's what they need to do.
Well, Marv Levy says of Fuller, John, one of his biggest attributes is his intelligence. He learns very quickly. Now he drops to throw in the whoop. He had J.T. Smith running an out pattern, and the ball was thrown on an in pattern. Fortunately for the Chiefs, there was no Steeler there.
And he had J.T. Thomas in his hip pocket because there was another situation where they flowed to the right side. Thomas playing the other corner, just had no one on him, and he almost got to Fuller before he even got the quick pass off.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Kansas City Chiefs and the National Football League is prohibited. 3rd down and 7 for Kansas City. 33-yard line of Pittsburgh. 2nd quarter. The Steelers lead the game 7-0. 17-0. Fuller throws it through. Almost intercepted. Jack Ham had it and was heading for a touchdown, or so he thought, until he looked back and saw the football.
The kind of pass play that Jack Ham will wait all game long for. Fuller's forced out of the pocket. When he tries to throw across his body, back across the field. Not many of those are going to be completed on Jack Ham.
Tony Reed came out of the game early, you'll remember. Diagnosis on the sideline is a sprained knee. They'll see how it responds. Whether or not he'll be back in. I see them down there taping it tighter now. Looks like he might play again.
This field goal would be the longest for John Stenerud all year long.
Yeah, doesn't hit the long ones this season. He's got that one. The distance is there, but he is wide. And so a long field goal attempt and a threat of points by Kansas City comes up wide. And the Pittsburgh Steelers hold to a 17-0 lead. They'll have the football back when we return to Arrowhead Stadium. And hello, Kansas City. Our producer today for NBC television is George Finkel. Our director, Ken Faust. This is Don Criqui with John Brody. We have 6:31 to play in the first half. First and 10 Steelers. They lead the game 17-0. Whoops. Franco lost the handle. Still can't find it. And very alertly whacks the ball out of bounds.
That's the sort of thing that a good player does when he gets in trouble. He doesn't try to make a big play out of a mistake. That time Bradshaw on his pitch back, Franco never did get the ball clean. He fumbled it, tried to pick it up once, knew the case was closed, and slipped it out of bounds.
Buffalo leading the Jets 7-6. The Bills scoring on a touchdown pass. And then Kevin Long coming back and scoring for the Jets, but the extra point was wide. Washington over St. Louis 10-7. Get some more in that game in a minute now as the Steelers break the huddle. Second down and 18, about 17. Bradshaw goes to Franco Harris, and the Chiefs stay home. Thomas Howard, a linebacker, 52, in his third year from Texas Tech. Great track man at Texas Tech. He had the fastest 120-yard high hurdle time in the country in 1977. Here he is playing linebacker. So he can run with the quick guys. And he stops Franco Harris. It's going to be third down and 15, John.
I don't think you'll find the Steelers calling many draw plays for the rest of the ball game because Kansas City is trying to put added pressure on Bradshaw. When you do that, you're taking a couple extra men, putting them in the pass rush, and they run right into the lanes of the draw plays.
Third down and 15 for the Steelers. Bradshaw takes the deep drop. They've got the rush on him now. He swings it out. Got a man, Rocky Blyer. 40. And ahead is Rocky Blyer to the 45 or 6-yard line, and he got a first down. Art Still at 255 pounds ran him down, got him from behind. But Blyer gets the swing pass with the screen in front and takes it downfield for a Pittsburgh first down on third and 15. John.
Now that play did not look like a screen to me until Bradshaw committed to it. He allowed the defensive line to get to him. They got very close to him. It looked like an excellent pass rush. He just slips it out to Blyer on a fine completion. They pick up the first. They're just executing about as well as a team can right now.
Boy, they are. Masterful execution by the Steelers on offense. Big plays has been the order of the day for Pittsburgh, and here is Rocky Blyer taking it out to midfield. The former Notre Dame captain, who might be in his last season, he said. 10th year, depending on how he feels at the end of the season. Next Saturday on NBC Sports World, the action's the greatest as the Muhammad Ali Boxing Club squares off against the Mexico Boxing Club. Then Mark Roth and Buzz Fazio lead their teams into the pressure-packed semifinals of the Legends of Bowling, plus America's Best Challenge, Canada's Best in the bizarre and bruising sport of barrel jumping. That's all next Saturday on NBC Sports World. Chuck Noll with another superb football team at Pittsburgh, looking on in the sunshine of Kansas City. Temperature in the 40s, clear sunny skies. Steelers 17, Kansas City nothing. And on 2nd and 6, Franco Harris brings the ball inside the 45-yard line of the Chiefs. Mano Maliuna knocked him down, or knocked him out of bounds, 54, the linebacker on the inside. And we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. We have 4:13 left to play in the first half here at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. With John Brody, this is Don Criqui. The world champion Pittsburgh Steelers have opened up a 17-0 lead over the Kansas City Chiefs. On a sunny but cool day here in Kansas City, Harry Bradshaw throwing for 2 touchdowns. The first to John Stallworth on a flea flicker. The Steelers' first possession. Then a field goal by Matt Barr from 31 yards. Then another touchdown throw. A great reception by Lynn Swann in the end zone at 16 yards out. And so the Steelers, looking to extend their season record to 9-2, have commanded the game 17-0. And right now, they have the ball at the 44-yard line of Kansas City, and the markers come out measuring to see if the Steelers got yet another first down. Bradshaw 7 of 11 throwing the ball for 122 yards and the 2 touchdowns. He was intercepted once.
Don, you so seldom see a team come out away from home and be as effective as they are offensively. Defensively, they have just stuffed the Chiefs. We're not even at halftime, and most everybody is sitting on their hands at this time.
There's 78,000 here, and that group from Pittsburgh's got something to cheer about. They're fun lovers, aren't they, John? Let's go out to the night. The wing formation now. Grossman goes in motion. On third and less than a yard, Harris turns wide, turns upfield, and Franco Harris has another Steeler first down as he brings the ball inside the Kansas City 40. They'll spot him out of bounds somewhere around the 39 or 8-yard line. Gary Spaney finally knocked him out. Franco Harris, one of 3 backs in NFL history to gain over 1,000 yards his first 3 years.
They put a man in motion trying to eliminate the contain for Kansas City, and that man you saw flying over a blocker's shoulder was Gary Green. When Stallworth went in motion, it necessitated Green to go with them. He couldn't contain, and they just walked around the end for a first.
It is first and 10 now for the Steelers as they lead 17-0. Rocky Bleier looks for room to go, and there's nothing there. Kansas City defending against that nicely. Coming in to make the play was Gary Spaney, second-year linebacker from Kansas City. Bradshaw with men wide to either side, takes the deep drop and looks long. A powerful arm goes to the end zone to Stallworth, and the defense is there at the last moment. Gary Barbaro, number 28, was in there. Milton Carter also on the play.
Stallworth and Barbaro back there pushing each other around a little bit. Stallworth is not accustomed to having somebody keep him from making great receptions. Barbaro twice has done the same thing.
Barbaro is a very good free safety. Big one. 6'4", 204 pounds from Nichols State in Louisiana. As you see, he's the Chiefs' leading interceptor. Now the Chiefs on 3rd down and 11 go to 4 down linemen and 5 defensive backs. And the Steelers go to 3 wide receivers. Jim Smith is on the left flank with Stallworth and Swan to the right. 3rd down and 11. Bradshaw stands in, he throws, and Stallworth comes back at the ball at the 26-yard line and catches it. About a foot off the ground. Knew where he had to go, John, turning in at the Steeler first down on 3rd and 11.
All he has to do is pick out the man that's covering one of his wide receivers man-to-man, pick them out, and he seems to hit them at will. They put Swan and Stallworth on the same side of the field, trying to get one of them on single coverage. This time it happened to be Stallworth. He beats Collier, gets inside, and Bradshaw throws it down low, so it's an easy catch.
Marv Levy said before the game, we have to capitalize on turnovers, and so far that hasn't happened. The Steelers have been capitalizing right from scrimmage. Big plays on the run, particularly on the pass. Motion in the backfield, no flag. Apparently got back in the stance in time. But the play doesn't go very far for Pittsburgh. On a 1st and 10 play, the ball has advanced very little. Rocky Bleier got the handoff, and he was hit by Spaney.
You know, maybe if the Chiefs would give up a few more yards on the ground, they wouldn't force Bradshaw to put it in the air, because when he does, it's awesome.
Oh, it is awesome. Are you serious? Bradshaw 7 of 11 for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. A 26-yard throw to John Stallworth, a 16-yarder to Lynn Swan. And the Steelers are in command of the game. Now they'll have a 2nd down and 10 play coming up. The ball's at the 26-yard line of the Chiefs. And before the Steelers put the ball in play, Bradshaw goes to the sidelines. We have a timeout here at Kansas City, and we'll be back at Arrowhead in a moment. Back at Kansas City, the Steelers are in command 17-0 late in the 2nd quarter, 2 minutes to play in the 1st half. San Diego rallying back now at Cincinnati. The Bengals still leading the game 14-10 after they led earlier 14-0. Terry Bradshaw now leads the National Football League in touchdown throws this season. He has 20, including 2 today. The pitch back to Franco Harris. And Harris picking his spot. Moves outside his blocker and takes it inside the 20. Seattle, an underdog, goes to Cleveland and leads the Cleveland Browns 16-0. Last week, Seattle had 1 first down, John, losing to the Rams 24-0.
It's a little bit embarrassing when you have an offense that executes as well as Seattle's does week in and week out to be stuffed and make 7 yards total offense throughout a whole day of play at home.
That's right.
And you know they put something together, and it just makes everybody take a look at his hole card when that happens. And yet generally they come out swinging.
And, of course, we'll be updating all the scores at halftime as we switch to New York. Brian Kemmel and Mike Adamle in NFL 79. Right now, we have 1:53 to play in the 1st half. The Steelers leading 17-0, challenging again. Handoff goes on the counter to Rocky Bleier, and he's down to the 16-yard line. Art Still, 67, knocked him down. He's in his 10th year now from Louisiana Tech. Came as the #1 pick in the 1970 draft. Had some rough early going, but looks like a Hall of Famer. Now Franco Harris gets the call and takes it inside the 15-yard line. Dave Lindstrom, a defensive end the Chiefs are high on. Number 71 knocked him down. The carry. An advance of just 2 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Steelers now punching the ball right at the Kansas City defense as you see the second quarter clock winding down. 1:09 to play in the first half. Bradshaw gives off to Blyer. Out in front of that play was Jerry Mullins, number 72. Ark still made the tackle, but Rocky Blyer gets the ball down to the 9-yard line.
Save one of their own.
With John Brody, this is Don Cricky. 42 seconds left to play, second quarter at Arrowhead. Steelers challenging 3rd down and 3. They lead the game 17-0. They go to Franco Harris, and he's down inside the 5-yard line. Ark still on yet another tackle for the Chiefs, but the Steelers are knocking once again.
And now they use one of their timeouts. 1st down and 3 yards to go.
As old Pink looks down, he hasn't had a chance to ride around in celebration of any Chiefs scoring today.
Here's to good friends.
So far, the Steelers have 12 first downs. Kansas City just 4. The big number, though, up on the scoreboard is the 17 that the Steelers have put up. 17 points, none for Kansas City, and the Steelers challenging now 1st and goal from the 3. Up the middle, Franco Harris worked hard, but he's driven back. Good defense by the Chiefs. Gary Spaney, number 59, 230 pounds, met Franco Harris with all he had. Knocked down short of the goal line. That's a loss of a half yard. Steelers moving right along now. 16 seconds to go in the first half. Bradshaw looks into the end zone. He's looking at Grossman. Throws towards him. Grossman went down in the end zone before the ball was thrown, fighting off a blocker. That stops the clock, as you see, with 11 seconds left to play in the first half. John?
Well, Terry was just trying to draw a penalty with that play. He saw Grossman go down. He didn't know whether he was pushed down or slipped. There was no call, and it looked like excellent coverage to me. Amazing to me how after it the Steelers remain. It looks like they've got the ball game in great shape. It looks as if also they really don't care what the score is. Let's just stay after it from pillar to post and see what happens. It's a great way to play, but I haven't seen too many people that can do it.
Now as the Steelers come out looking to line up and head for the end zone with 11 seconds to play, the officials call a timeout. And we remind you, I guess it's going to be charged to Kansas City, that there is a very good one coming up Thanksgiving Day on NBC. It is 3rd down and goal now for Pittsburgh. Bradshaw sets his team down. Stallworth comes in motion back to the line. Bradshaw rolls out. He looks, he throws. Even for Lynn Swan, there was too much to go after on that ball. And that brings up 4th down with 6 seconds to play. John?
That was thrown into the Chiefs, Saints. You notice they did allow all the time in the half to elapse in that drive. It took them about 4 minutes and 50 seconds. They went 50 yards. Kansas City cannot get back in the game if they don't have the football. Looks like it's going to be 20-0 at halftime, and it's been all Pittsburgh.
Matt fires out there again. Right Colquitt to hold. He just about liked an extra point attempt. 21-yarder. Fires into the ball, and he's got it right up and good. And so with 3 seconds left to play in the first half, the Steelers extend their lead to 20-0. And they'll be kicking it off once again.
You know, it's funny, Matt Barr lockers right next to Terry Bradshaw, and Barr looks like a choir boy. He must weigh about 155 pounds. He's most proud of the fact he's made 3 tackles on kickoffs this year. Kickers very seldom talk about how many field goals they've made or what that sort of stat is, but every tackle they make, they remember. Bradshaw mentions his wife would like to adopt him. They have a pretty good relation, and for a guy like Barr to be able to get into that group and become one of the guys as quickly as he has, it's an indicator of the whole Pittsburgh tempo, I think.
Yeah, they're really together, this team. They know they're good, and they like it. 3 seconds left to go. Matt Barr ready to kick it off. His brother Kiss kicking extra points and field goals today for the Cincinnati Bengals, both soccer players from Penn State. That fire hits a high spinner downfield and dealt with yet another kickoff return. That is a weak
to a trick play, the flea flicker. Harris to Bradshaw to Stallworth, 26 yards, touchdown, 7-0 Pittsburgh lead. And then how about this one? This is getting like Rembrandt to Picasso. That's what kind of athletes these Swan and Bradshaw is. They're two fantastic artists, 14-0 at that point. There's just no stopping the Pittsburgh Steelers this afternoon, or any afternoon for that matter.
Like Bum Phillips said, anybody who's going to get to Pasadena is going to have to go there by way of Pittsburgh. You've got to believe that, too. Tampa Bay meeting Detroit.
Where the Steelers and the Chiefs are ready now for the second half. And John Brody, what do you think Mr. Fuller is going to do to get this going?
Well, I think indicative of the first half, 3 out of 7 completions. It's 20-0, and they really haven't put the ball up in the air. Now, I know Steve's going to get a real baptism in the second half today because he's got to throw. Nobody can give up, all right? They can't get back in the ball game by trying to run it down the Steelers' throats. Nobody ever has, and I don't think anybody's going to do it today. He may just come out and surprise a few people, change Levy's viewpoint as to whether he wants to throw as much as... if a kid is really able and he takes this club up against a team like Pittsburgh, he's got a chance to change the thinking of a coaching staff. And if I was in his shoes, I'd like to have a go at that.
Well, we'll see. They do have to open it up, at least try to get in this football game, because Pittsburgh is going to shut down the basic stuff that Kansas City is going to do, like run the wing ball, the wide ball, a lot of sweeps. They'll jam that right back at you. The defense is just too good. Oakland and Houston now at a 14-14 halftime tie, as you heard.
You know there's going to be some more scoring before the day is out, too, because both teams play very good offensive football, and both teams are playing their strengths against the other team's weakness.
Anderson is back deep now for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they will get a kickoff for the first time. You don't get much work on the kickoff return team if you play for the Steelers because there's not too many touchdowns scored against them. Conversely, when you're leading the league in kickoff returns, you're giving up a lot of TDs. We remind you again that the possibility exists that we might switch part of our network to the Astrodome in Houston, where the Oilers are playing the Oakland Raiders. Right now, that game is airtight. Those two good ball clubs. But all those who are watching in Pittsburgh and in Kansas City will see this game in its entirety if the possibility does come through that we do switch the game. That would only happen if this should get out of hand. Right now, the Steelers are in command 20-0. And that kickoff into the end zone by Stenerud, one of the many he's had over his long career as a Kansas City Chief, will put the ball at the 20-yard line on a touchback, and Pittsburgh will go once again 1st and 10. Bradshaw, 9 for 16 and the 2 touchdowns. He leads the National Football League this season in touchdown throws, now at a total of 20. His running backs are Rocky Blyer and Franco Harris. Blyer gets the call, turns upfield, spins across the 20 and out to the 25. A 5-yard gain. Don Parrish, 61, the middle guard, made the tackle. The wide receivers are John Stallworth and Lynn Swan, each with a touchdown reception today. Out over the ball at center. Rocky Blyer, the second oldest running back in the NFL. Getting a start today, the second of the season. Thornton down with an ankle injury. Here's the pitch back to Franco Harris. He doesn't get much as he turns wide, got to about the 26. Gary Spaney, an inside linebacker, 59, was on the stop for Kansas City.
Gary Spaney not only gets into a lot of action, but he gets into it at the line of scrimmage. Defensively, Kansas City, over the past several weeks, has played very good football. Gary Spaney is a prime reason for that. They have excellent cornerbacks. However, when you're playing up against the receivers for the Steelers and you're in a one-on-one situation, you have very little chance. They've tried to keep him out of it, but they can't do it to all players.
Bradshaw ready down, a 3rd down and 3. And up to Blyer, stands up front. Spaney grabs him, knocks him down along with Sylvester Hicks, number 75. So the Chiefs come out with 3 good downs to the defensive unit, stopping the Steelers, and now Pittsburgh will have to punt the ball. And J.T. Smith comes out to return it for Kansas City.
Their number 1 punt. I'm glad. It's good to see Colquitt just to see if he came with the club. Okay, Spaney makes an excellent play, getting through at the point of attack.
Colquitt doesn't punt often. 2 games recently, he's only punted once in each one. Here's the snap. Hits it high and downfield. Smith will field the ball at the 35. Weaves his way through some defenders and then is hammered. Robin Cole, 56, came up and drilled him. He doesn't get much as Steelers throw him back.
Mike Williams on the carry.
He doesn't get any.
Not at all.
Loses about one, I think.
Jack Lambert and Dennis Winston were on the stop. In the backfield for Kansas City, Mike Williams is in the backfield along with Horace Belton and Steve Fuller at the quarterback. The wide receivers are Henry Marshall, 89. And in there with him is J.T. Smith, number 86. Marv Levy's team en route to perhaps a 5th consecutive loss after the Chiefs, a surprise team at the outset of the season, were 4-2 through the first 6 weeks. It's 2nd down and 11 now. Marshall goes in motion. Fuller takes a look. Throws over the middle. A good, well-thrown ball, and it's caught by J.T. Smith. And he is down to the 45-yard line of the Steelers. A gain of 15 yards and a first down. Chuck?
I think, Don, more indicative is the fact that J.T. Smith got inside Mel Blount. Very few people are able to do that. He entices you playing your man-to-man. Not too many people are successful throwing against him. Fuller knows his back's to the wall. That's the first throw we've seen in the second half. I think you can expect quite a few more.
John, your old friend Chuck Muncie has run for a couple of touchdowns. And New Orleans is leading San Francisco 17-0.
It's a long year for the Niners.
Horace Belton goes to the run, and Kansas City moves the ball out nicely, getting some good blocking from the left tackle, number 77, Charlie Getty, to left guard, Bob Simmons. Rudney blocking well in the middle linebacker. Gain of 4 on the play.
One man we haven't seen much of today, Jack Lambert, primarily because no one's been able to get to him. The defensive line have stopped the Chiefs at the line of scrimmage most of the day. This time they have a very effective play. Lambert makes the play 4 yards deep.
So now Kansas City, trailing 20-0 at the half, comes out in the third quarter moving the football. It's going to be 2nd down and 6 for the Chiefs. Ball at the 42-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Reverse.
It is a reverse, and there's room to run. Fuller throws one block. And Marshall takes the ball down to the 30-yard line. Boy, they got the swing of the Pittsburgh defense moving left. And Marshall had room to go as he came back the other way.
An excellent call, and let's remember Fuller's calling the plays out there in his rookie year. A perfect time to call this play. Pittsburgh's pursuit has been exceptional. He caught Dirk Winston trying to help out on the far side of the field, ran a reverse behind him, picked up a first down.
Getty and Nicholson are the tackles for the Chiefs. Simmons and Condon the guards. Rudney the center. Tony Samuels the tight end. It's 1st and 10 now for Kansas City at the 30-yard line of Pittsburgh. A lot of motion in the offense now. Marshall goes in motion again. And Kansas City takes the ball with Mike Williams carrying right of the Pittsburgh defense. And he brings it ahead for 3 yards, almost 4, down to the 26-yard line. Make it 2nd down and 6. J.T. Thomas, 24, was on the stop for the Steelers. Rams lead the Bears down in Chicago, 9-0. First quarter score.
The Rams seem to be playing better football now in the last couple of weeks. They haven't allowed anybody to score in the last 6 quarters. That's really their personality.
They got to do it with defense. Their offense has been at best erratic. Now they've lost Hayden for the rest of the season. The pitch back goes to Mike Williams. He's going to turn the corner. And Williams gets the ball inside the 25-yard line. So Kansas City trying to beat that Pittsburgh defensive front by using speed to go wide against it. The pitch back and the subsequent speed running of Mike Williams. And the ball is down inside to the 23-yard line. Bring up 3rd down and 3 for the Chiefs. Fuller has his team moving now.
This is a very key play, Donnie. They stuffed the Steelers in their first drive. They're taking the ball. They've moved it about 45 yards. They've played good football so far in the second half, and they've got to capitalize on it.
They have. And now apparently Fuller saw something in the defensive set of the Steelers, or now it's going to be Pittsburgh calling a timeout. Jack Lambert's upset about some. He's got the official chewing on over there.
You've come to fly before the wind, harnessed to a wildcat, suspended above the waves like the man on the flying trapeze, straining to get every ounce out of her. And moving so fast, the mast begins to sing, leaving the rest of the world behind. So you go for it, making the most of now, from the life you live to the beer you drink. And since 1849, The beer that makes the most out of life is Schlitz. That's why every day, millions of times a day, America reaches for a Schlitz.
When you're making it beer, make it just one here. Schlitz makes it great.
Go for it.
Pittsburgh 22-yard line. Three running backs now as they go to the wing tee. 6 offensive linemen in the game. Hand off. And Arnold Morgado didn't get much as he loses about 3 yards on the play, and a penalty marker comes in on top of the football play. The Pittsburgh Steelers will rise up. This defense, the Steeler coaches tell us, is designed to force the opposition to throw. They want to see the pass.
Well, they're going to see it if this penalty is taken, because I think it's a holding penalty. Generally, when a penalty is called at the point of attack, that's what it is.
Holding number 23 declined. 4th down.
Earl Gant, a rookie running back, caught the hold, but the Steelers decline it. That brings up a 4th down. 4th down at 5.
That's an interesting decision, because they would have had 3rd down at about 14. This way, they stay in field goal range and elect to kick it. Otherwise, they would have put Stenerud in a very tenuous situation, having to kick a field goal of over 50 yards. Maybe they figure it doesn't matter.
Well, this one's going to be about 43. Jan Stenerud, who's been doing this a long time, drills the ball, gets it up in the air. He got it. Jan Stenerud from 43 yards out hits the field goal. And for the first time in the game, the Kansas City Chiefs are on the board, trailing 20-3. We'll be back with the Kansas City kickoff in a moment.
How did I get my men to smoke a pipe? I told Ted that the color of the bowl made an exciting contrast to the steely blue of his eyes. And Michael, he was easy. Smoking a pipe makes you look mysterious, I said.
Here's Jan Stenerud, who hit the field goal to put Kansas City on the board for the first time. Kicking downfield, Anderson takes the ball. Larry Anderson loses the football inside the 5. The pursuit is there now and loosens up, and Anderson, with a kamikaze run, drives ahead, and there's a free football for a moment. Let's see who has that. Whitney Paul comes in from the sidelines for the Chiefs, pointing his way, but the officials are apparently going to keep it with the Steelers. Don't forget, there is doubleheader football coming up next here on NBC on most of these stations. The New England Patriots, the Denver Broncos from Mile High Stadium in Denver. Both those clubs going in with 7-3 records. When Chuck Noll came to the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 1969, the Steelers had won 18 games in the previous 5 seasons. Last year they won 17.
Yeah, and I think it's testimony, too, to the whole administration there, because he only won 1 game his first year.
Right.
Didn't change any of the programming.
So they ended up with Bradshaw, and here comes Bradshaw on the run, and quickly looks for the 12th man and gets out of bounds. Bradshaw bailing out at about the 31-yard line. He'll be short of a first down, but not by much. And a first down carry, he got about 8.
And that is only the 2nd time he's run the ball all year long, or the 3rd. Now, Joe Gordon was just making the statement that most quarterbacks have run it 14 or 15 times by this time in the year, just on broken patterns. Now, first of all, Bradshaw hasn't had to run the ball on broken patterns very often, but his personality used to be one of looking to run the ball when he got in a trap rather than throw it. It's changed immensely, and I think their effectiveness has been greater for it.
He's staying in the pocket. They don't want him getting hit either any more than he has to. He was KO'd last week. On first down, he did get the first down. The carries to the 33-yard line, and the Chiefs shut it down. Whitney Paul, number 53, an outside linebacker, and Art Still, 67, make the hit on Franco Harris. Whitney Paul, Frank Malamaliuna, Gary Spaney, and Thomas Howard are the linebackers. Here's Spaney shooting in.
And this is what is called a running situation blitz. Everybody hits one of the gaps. They try to stuff them at the line of scrimmage, force them into a 2nd and 10 situation, make them put the ball up in the air. Now comes the tough part. Stop Bradshaw.
Last year, they went strictly for the draft. Spaney came in the 3rd round. Sylvester Hicks on the 2nd, Art Still on the 1st, and all 3 started for Kansas City. Bradshaw on 2nd and 10, kicks the ball up in the air for grabs, and closest to it was Whitney Paul. He was thinking end zone, but couldn't get to the football. The Steelers have third down and almost 10 coming up. Three wide receivers in the game for Pittsburgh. Bradshaw has time. He takes a look. He lets it rip. Tip. And very nearly intercepted by Thomas Howard. So the Chief linebackers get back nicely in that zone coverage.
Well, we mentioned in the first half how able Bradshaw was to pick out the correct receiver. And generally they have to leave one of them man-to-man when they put Schwann and Stallworth out there together. However, this time they fooled Bradshaw. They went into a zone. They had both of the wide receivers covered on that side. Paul Howard made a great play and then didn't come up with the catch.
This Kansas City team, John, has historically played a lot of good football in the second half. Last week they almost came back to beat San Diego here. Colquitt punts. Knuckler downfield will take a hop, and Smith is going to have to let it roll, but it takes the Kansas City hop back upfield, and Jack Valentine slaps it down. Couple guys teeing off now. Valentine sashaying into the end zone away from the action.
Well, that'll be broken up, but it gives Kansas City good field position. It's something they severely need.
Right now, there is a break in the action here at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. We'll be back in a moment.
Not for...
Jack Ham had 2 or 3 fellas to get through, still made the play. For years, he's been as fine a pass defender as there is in the game for a linebacker, but against the run, he's equally as tough. You can see Tony Samuels trying to move him back off the line of scrimmage. He kind of slides through all 3 of the red shirts, finds the ball carrier, and stops him for a 1-yard gain.
After this next play, we'll be recapping all the scores from around the league on this, the 11th weekend of play. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs have a second down and 9 play coming up. They trail the game 20-3 in the third quarter. Fuller hands off. Here comes Felton turning upfield, and Felton was hit. What a shot Joe Green put on him, along with Dennis Winston. Dirt Winston got a piece of it. Looks like he got shot out of a gun. He just kept flying.
Winston came across the line of scrimmage so fast, I think he was responsible for shooting Belton where he landed, but they both got a pretty good piece.
All right. It is 14-14. Stabler to Casper for 3 yards, and Oakland ties the game at Houston. O'Donohue kicked a field goal, but Detroit still leads Tampa Bay 7-3. Right now, here's the penalty.
Offense. Second down.
Holding against the Chiefs sets them back. Miami up over Baltimore 16-0 in the third quarter. Von Schaumann just kicked a field goal. 7-6 is the score through 3 quarters of play at Shea Stadium. They're now in the fourth quarter. Buffalo leading 7-6. The Redskins lead the Cardinals 17-7. Theismann just threw to Rocky Thompson for 7 yards and a touchdown. Cleveland is coming back. We'll get more of those scores. Browns now down 16-10. Uh-oh. Steve Fuller never got a good look. Robin Cole, number 56, who has his weight way down. Robin was telling us he's down to 218. He's faster and he's just as strong.
Again, an excellent call at the right time. It's a sure passing situation. Play action passes aren't very effective on 2nd and 20. Everybody in the house knows you're going to throw the ball. Robin Cole had no back to pick him up, so he picked up Fuller.
Brian Sipe leading the Cleveland offense. Mike Pruitt just ran from scrimmage for 66 yards for a touchdown. 14-13 Cincinnati over San Diego right now. Chargers rallying back in that game. Swing pass go. Oh, that's not going to work. Trying his best to get the ball, but not succeeding for Kansas City was Mike Williams, a 225-pound running back out of New Mexico, a rookie. At Soldier Field in Chicago, Los Angeles is leading the Chicago Bears 9-0 on 3 field goals.
Bob Bruff to kick for Kansas City.
At New Orleans, Chuck Muncie has run for 2 touchdowns. Jim Clemens kicked a field goal. It's 17-0 the Saints. Green Bay and a Whitehurst to Andra Thompson pass from 23 yards leads Minnesota 7-0. It's 4th down and about 30 now for Kansas City. And Grupp punts once again. Bell is back downfield. It's angled out of bounds. Goes out at the 15-yard line. And there, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the world champions of football, will go back on offense. 1st and 10 with 5:18 to play in the third quarter, and the Steelers in the lead, 20-3. Brody, this is Don Criqui back at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. We're late in the third quarter. The Steelers have the ball in a 20-3 lead. Bradshaw, quarterback, with 20 touchdown passes for the season, has 2 today. Rocky Bleier on a first down carry. Brings the ball out to the 20-yard line, a gain of 5. The Houston Oilers have just scored on a 7-yard run by Tim Wilson, and they have gone in front again of Oakland 21-14. That game in the third quarter at the Astrodome in Houston. People around the Steelers will tell you that the Steeler team reflects head coach Chuck Noll on the left there. Never get too high over victories or too low when things aren't going right. Noll, a believer that things are never as good as they are when they seem to be when they're going right, or as bad when they're going wrong. And the Steelers have a very good equilibrium that they play throughout a long season. Bradshaw takes a look. Denny Cunningham put a hand up, and finally Lynn Swan went for the ball. It's incomplete. And the Kansas City fans, John, like this. They're getting a rush on Bradshaw.
Well, it's the sort of play that you call a safety play. That time Swan wasn't even in the pattern, and he kind of lulled his way down the field, just keeping his eye on Bradshaw in case he got in trouble. Good defensive coverage, forced him to come back over, and Gary Green was alert enough to follow Swan, keep the ball incomplete, and it's 3rd and 9.
Mike Wood just kicked another field goal for San Diego, and the Chargers have come from a 14-0 deficit, and they have the lead now at Cincinnati, 16-14. The game, as you see, late in the third quarter. The Steelers, with their 45-man roster, all original Steelers. 39 were drafted, 6 came as free agents. None played for another team. Lynn Swan goes for the ball at the 25, and again, Kansas City's defense is good. It's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Made the play on defense that time for the Chiefs. Number 24, Gary Green on the play.
Chiefs have been very impressive in the second half on defense, Don.
They have. Talking about that Steeler roster, 7 rookies are on the team. They're not young or old as an NFL roster goes, averaging 26 years and about 5.2 years of experience. Here's the punt by Colquitt. Low snap, steps into it, hits it well. J.T. Smith is backfield at his 43. Get out of my way, man, and J.T. Smith turns up the sidelines. He can take it the distance. Smith, a fine punt returner. Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Your Steel City News Station, Channel 11, WIIC-TV, Pittsburgh.
J.T. Smith has returned 2 for touchdowns this year, 1 for 88. We're at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The temperature in the low 40s, a clear sunny day. The Kansas City Chiefs in red were trailing at the half to Pittsburgh 20-0. They now trail 20-3 and have the ball back. At the 41-yard line of Pittsburgh, it's 1st and 10. Don Criqui with John Brody as young Steve Fuller directs the Kansas City offense. Arnold Morgado looked for some, didn't get any, lost about a yard. Coming up to get him was Jack Lambert, 58. Say, Jack is hurting all over these days. Playing with a slightly separated shoulder and a bad ankle.
This is the time of the year, Don, when most everybody's playing a little bit banged up.
He's right on that starting lineup with a separated shoulder. 5 years in a row. That's remarkable. Didn't realize that. He's led them in tackles. Morgado turns again, and again the Steelers turn him back in with his help and knock him down at about the 39-yard line. On the play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, leading the way was Jack Lambert. Dirk Winston, 53, was also on the stop. On defense, Pittsburgh has held its opponents to 3.4 yards per rushing attempt, which is the best mark in the NFL this season. The Steelers are also first in the NFL in interceptions this year with 21.
That's a statistic that I think they can be most proud of, because when you stuff somebody at the line of scrimmage, it forces the opposing quarterback to put the ball in the air, and when they've done so, they still haven't been effective. Where do you beat them?
One area they lead, John, they're not proud of is in turnovers. They're number 1 in the league there, too, with 33 through today's game. On 3rd and 9, Fuller steps in. The ball goes up. That was intercepted. I think they got it before it hit the ground. Dirt Winston made a leaping grab at the ball, and apparently he's going to be credited with an interception.
That is one of the most amazing reactions to a ball that's fumbled in midair of anybody I've ever seen.
Now for a report and an update on other games around the league, let's go to Bryant Gumbel in New York.
This is Brian Gumbel in New York reporting that in the Astrodome, the Oilers have gone out in front of the Raiders 21-14. Here's how it happened. Latest score, Tim Wilson from 7 yards out, lunges into the end zone. The Oilers go up top. We get a second look from ground level, following good blocking off the left side. Good lead block by Earl Campbell. Wilson takes it in. Again, Oilers 21, Raiders 14 in the third. Let's go back to Arrowhead. Don Criqui and John Brody.
And back to live action here at Kansas City. The Steelers on a 1st and 10 carry from their 43-yard line advance the ball out to the 45. Franco Harris runs into Art Still, who is a standout defensive end from University of Kentucky, one of the top people drafted a season ago. Now his second year, 6'7", 255 pounds. Plays the run as well as anybody around. Chiefs would like to get a little more pass rush going. They work with the 3-man front for the most part. Do go to the 4-down lineman and some passing down. Bring in an extra defensive back. On 2nd down and 7. Bradshaw throws. He's intercepted. Picking the ball off is Tom Howard. He's back inside the 40-yard line of Pittsburgh and back to the 35.
That's the first time today that the Chiefs defense have forced a bad error on the part of the Steelers. 5 men were trying to get to Bradshaw. He had Franco Harris out on a pattern. Nobody to pick up one of the blitzing linebackers. He made a wrong decision and a bad throw. Gave Kansas City the ball on the 35-yard line. That's the first real break that Kansas City's had all day, and they made it.
They did indeed. Stepping right in was linebacker Howard in a deep drop. And so now the Chiefs have the ball 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line of Pittsburgh. Coming out as the tight end, set to the left, is Tony Samuel. 5 receivers to either side in Marshall and Smith. Arnold Morgado is working awful hard, but not getting a whole lot in his few carries in this game. You're going to see the 2 of the best in the AFC lock up at Mile High Stadium in Denver, next on most of these NBC stations, when the New England Patriots go against the Denver Broncos. Both going into the game 7-3.
You know, Don, Kansas City's got a chance to get back in this game as dominant as Pittsburgh has been. They've got in great field position. They've got to make a big play, get a score on the board, then they get it to within 10 with a whole lot of time left. Let's see if they can do so.
Whole lot of time. We're still in the 3rd quarter here, 1:24 to play in it. Fuller, pitch back. Here's a flea flicker for Kansas City. A home run ball, and the man is out there. Broken up at the goal line. So Henry Marshall made a diving effort at it as Fuller put the ball on the goal line. And Marshall diving for it, lost it when he went down.
That's the same flea flicker play that Pittsburgh tried early in the ball game. It was called at a good time. They got the proper defense. Fuller made it what I thought was a fine throw under the conditions. He had pretty good pressure on him. Marshall had to come up with a big play and didn't.
Tampa Bay, John, is inching back into that game against Detroit. Another field goal by O'Donohue, and the Buccaneers failed Detroit 7-6 in the 3rd quarter. And Buffalo has scored again in the 4th quarter and leads the Jets 14-6. Joe Ferguson throwing for a touchdown. Tip ball was caught by Morgado. Penalty marker. No, it's an official's hat that flew in. Somebody got his hat. On a 3rd down play, 3rd and 9, they got the ball back to the line of scrimmage, and that was all.
You have to throw the ball off to a man at the safety valve at 3rd and 9. You know your play's in trouble. He's trying to get to his tight end because he knows it's a blitzing situation. He expects his tight end to come open. He did not. He had to throw it out to Morgado, and he picked up about 2, not enough.
Hey, they're going to keep on working at these long field goals. Stenerud hit a good one from 43, missed one from 50. On 4th down now and 7, looks like he's going to try another long one. This one would be from 51 yards away.
Remember, Fuller is also the holder, so there could be a fake.
You have got that. Now they're going to take the delay a game, are they, and punt the ball? That looks like it's going to be. Maybe they were just hoping that Pittsburgh might jump offside.
I don't too much think they were trying to get a delay of the game penalty. I think they were looking for a fake field goal. When they got to the line of scrimmage, they wasted too much time looking to see if it was open and got called.
Well, they've got the punter in now, Bob Grupp. 19 seconds to play in the third quarter. The Steelers lead the game 20-3. They were up 20-0 at the half. Were completely dominant in the first half. Scored the first time they had the ball when Bradshaw threw to Stallworth. Quickly extended that lead to 17-0, then to 20-0. And now Kansas City has played a much better game offensively in the second half. Grupp will angle toward the near sideline. A high kick. Goes out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. The 21-yard line. Next Sunday, NBC has a great day of football. First join NFL 79 as they examine the knee injury. Followed by the Jets versus Walter Payton and the Chicago Bears from Soldier Field. Or see the Miami Dolphins defense challenge Brian Sipe and the Cleveland Browns at Cleveland. Then it's the long-awaited Pittsburgh-San Diego matchup. Check your local listings for the game in your area next Sunday. NBC doubleheader day. The pitch back goes to Franco Harris, turning wide. He gets across the 20, and there's good defense again by the Kansas City Chiefs. Gary Spiney, who's been on a load of tackles, number 59, the inside linebacker from Kansas State, came across and made the slug. And right now, the gun sounds and the third quarter comes to an end. Here at Arrowhead Stadium, we'll be back with the fourth quarter in a moment.
It's the Delco Freedom Battery Sale. What do you want from a car battery, America?
Freedom to start in the cold. Thanks, Delco.
And you? Freedom from adding water. Thanks, Delco.
With John Brody, this is Don Criqui back at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. We're ready for the start of the fourth quarter. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the world champions of football, with the ball in a 20-3 lead. Second down and 9 coming up. Bradshaw dropping to throw. The big rush comes, and Bradshaw swings it out for Rocky Blyer. He gets ahead for first down yardage, but there's a penalty marker down, John, in the Steeler backfield.
And it looked to be thrown in that area where they call holding again.
Now Mike Webster's pointing at the Kansas City Chiefs. He looks to the sideline. We shall find out now as referee Fred Wyant,
I was wrong,
checks in on people.
Holding, number 91, declined. First down.
Ken Kremer, a rookie defensive lineman for Kansas City, was called for defensive holding. 5-yard assessment, an automatic first down for the Steelers. They have the ball out there, 32-yard line, first and 10. The Cleveland Browns, the come-from-behind team of 79, were down 16-0 to Seattle. They now lead the game to Cleveland 17-16. Bradshaw throws, and Benny Cunningham catches, and the big guy keeps on working upfield until he gets to the 46-yard line.
They're starting to go to their tight end position, Don, because the Chiefs have really shut off those two wide receivers in the second half. They've changed their defensive structure. They've played a lot of zone. They put 4 or 5 men over there trying to handle 2, and he's got to come back to his tight end. And when he does, he certainly isn't handling any weak link, because Benny Cunningham, once he gets the ball, as you can see, Christopher's having a little problem getting him down. He is a tough man to handle.
There's a lot of Benny out there, 6'5", 250 pounds. Fourth year from Clemson. Handoff goes up the middle, and running with the ball is Franco Harris. Remind you again that coming up next on NBC, a doubleheader game from Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. The New England Patriots at 7-3, the Denver Broncos at 7-3. The Patriots leading their division, the AFC East, by a game over Miami, but Miami's en route to a victory today over the Baltimore Colts, leading 16-0. And right now, Denver and San Diego are tied up for the AFC Western lead. San Diego in a tough one at Cincinnati that's not been decided yet. It's second down and 9 as Bradshaw looks to be checking off. Shot something across the line of scrimmage. Drops the throw on second and 9. Steps in, fires hard, and a good breakup is made by Whitney Paul, number 53. They were looking at Benny Cunningham again, John.
That's right, and it was a very tough play for a linebacker to make. He's man-to-man on Cunningham right now. because they've got all their defensive backs on the wide receivers. They put a linebacker with the responsibility to hand Cunningham, and he does so. That's just good defense.
That'll bring up 3rd down and 9 for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they go to the 3 wide receiver formation. It becomes a chess game. Kansas City automatically goes to the 4 down lineman and the extra defensive back on a long yardage, and the Steelers go to the 3 wide receivers. Bradshaw steps in, loops it downfield, and the ball is caught by John Stallworth, and he takes it down to the 26-yard line. So Stallworth, who is over 900 yards in receiving yardage this season to lead the NFL, and also has 50 catches for the year.
When you lead the NFL in yardage and catch as many balls as Stallworth catches, you have to be making some very average throws look good, but with a great catch. That time he got the defender to where he took his attention off of Bradshaw. Bradshaw just laid the ball out there, and Stallworth made the catch look easy. It was actually a rather poorly thrown ball and a great play.
Great play it was, yet another for the Steelers. They had a number of them in the first half. Now their offense starts to come alive again. Here is Rocky Blyer, and he's hit hard. Whitney Paul, 53, got the gap and got him. Mano Maliuma, 54, was also on the stop for Kansas City. So there's a loss of a yard on the play, and that's going to bring up 2nd down and 11. The game was sold out. It's on local television in Kansas City. The official attendance here is 70,132, about 8,000 no-shows. Pittsburgh breaks the huddle again now. The 2 wide receivers, 2 of the best in the game, Stallworth and Swan, deploy to the left. That's Swan at the lower left-hand portion of the screen. Bradshaw steps in. He has a problem. Eludes it. Bradshaw is hit as Kansas City is really starting to play. And the Chiefs make the knockdown outside the 30-yard line. And spot Bradshaw's forward progress to the 30, but there's a loss of almost 5 yards on the play. Whitney Paul led the way, 53, and Manny Maliona.
Most of this play is made good because Gary Barbero really doesn't let Bradshaw get into a situation where he has a one-on-one. He's playing center field, but he keeps all the receivers at bay. He follows Bradshaw's progress. That's what happens when there's nobody open.
Sylvester Hicks, number 75, very much on the play also for Kansas City. Now, 3rd down arises for the Steelers. 3rd and 15. Bradshaw takes the drop. Stands in. Fires. Caught. Lynn Swan comes back at the ball. He was hit hard. Barbaro got him coming over the top. But Lynn Swan, all pro that he is, some say he's the best in the game, makes the catch.
He did make a fine catch, but it was the defense really won that battle because they kept him short of a 1st down, and Barbaro was not man-to-man on Swan. He had to make a good play on a recovery. Good play from a free safety.
Los Angeles leads Chicago in the 2nd quarter, 16-7. Detroit leads Tampa Bay, 14-6 in the 3rd quarter. Comlo just threw a touchdown pass for the Lions. Washington leads St. Louis 20-7. That game in the 3rd quarter, 4:01 to play. Barr's field goal attempt is up, and he's having a good day. Matt Barr, 3 for 3 on the day, hitting all his attempts for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they up their lead now to 23-3, and we'll be back with the Steeler kickoff after this. Stadium in Kansas City. Matt Barr hits the kickoff high. It'll spin downfield to Belton at the 5-yard line. Up the middle, and Belton fires over the top, gets it to the 27, and a penalty marker comes in from off the play. Robin Cole down on special teams, 56 made the hit. Robbins made a few. So we'll look and see what the penalty marker is now.
Well, the way Kansas City's moving, it's definitely on them. I don't know what the infraction was.
Must be a clip. Back they go.
43, Freddie. 43, Fred. 4-0.
We're a personal foul, clipping 40.
The clip was on number 40 is the signal. And right now we remind you that Dog Day Afternoon with Al Pacino is a feature movie tonight at 9 Eastern time on NBC. Tomorrow night, it will be the Omen with Gregory Peck and Lee Remick. We have a 1st and 10 play coming up for Kansas City. Fuller throws as he's hit. He completes the ball to J.T. Smith.
Don, when you're taking a look at a young quarterback to see what sort of potential he has, the one thing you really look for is a guy that'll stand up in the face of adversity. Joe Green is all over the top of Fuller, doesn't change his attention at all. He keeps it right out there on Smith, puts the ball where it has to be thrown, and it gets him out of a hole. Keep throwing, pal.
That started him in the hole, though. The penalty call against Mike Williams on the return. But they get 9 yards back on that play. Fuller firing the ball, falling down. The reception made, the step out of bounds. Now 2nd down and 1 for Kansas City. Handoff goes. Morgado stepping inside, looking for a hole. He's got nothing. New England and Denver is coming up next on most of these NBC stations as the doubleheader game. 2 7-3 teams locking up at Mile High Stadium. The New York Jets have scored. Richard Todd to Bobby Jones. 4:04 left to play. The extra point attempt was again wide, and Buffalo leads the favored Jets 14-12. New Orleans leads San Francisco 24-3. Miami extending its lead over the Baltimore Colts to 19-0. So that puts some pressure on the New England Patriots. They'd be tied with the Dolphins if they lost today at Denver. Dropping to throw is Fuller. He looks, pump faking, gets the ball off but too high to Morgado. Ted McKnight has been the most effective back with a 5.4 per carry rushing average for Kansas City. He hasn't played at all today. He's troubled by turf toe, they call it. He is dressed for the game, not been in.
You know, this is the sort of time when a lot of people will get down on a quarterback that isn't putting the ball down the field. That time he had a couple receivers down the field, 18, 19 yards, but none of them were open. They were covered like gloves. He had to come off to his back. And in my opinion, threw it in the right place, out of bounds, because the back would have been smeared short of the line of scrimmage.
The game clock shows 9:26 left to play. Kansas City has the ball, 2nd and 10 inside the Chief 25. They go to the draw. Morgado has nothing but trouble from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gary Dunn, 67, was on him. Dirk Wink, 53, was there. And Morgado is going to be slow getting up as Pittsburgh honed in on him and threw him down for a loss on the play. Marv Levy in the slow building process was the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League for 5 seasons before he came here to Kansas City. Had 2 Grey Cup champions, 5 teams in the playoffs. Right now he has a problem with the Steelers.
America, the world is waiting.
Healthy spaces, glowing faces, a life that's full of life.
Your world is waiting, and Visa is there.
You're traveling, you're moving, you're giving more to life.
Wherever life is good, you're making it better. And Visa is there for traveling, shopping, and cash. Visa is the most widely recognized name in the world. Visa, we're keeping up with you.
Dodge is building good cars and trucks, the right kind for today. And we don't want inflation to stop anyone from buying them.
We want you to see and compare the 1980 Dodge cars and trucks. So we're making a special introductory offer to our next 100,000 buyers. Get a $300 check direct from Chrysler right now when you buy one of these 1980 Dodge cars or trucks.
Now, $300 won't convince anyone to buy a car or truck they don't want. But it may convince a lot of people to compare our prices.
Unfortunately, Morgado is being helped off the field. Arnold Morgado, who went down after the last carry, and his right knee at the moment looks to be injured.
Those are the sort of things you don't like to see happen. And you were mentioning earlier that Marv Levy is on a rebuilding trip, and it's going a little slow. And I think if today is any indication, you might think so. But in reality, I don't, because their defense is much improved over what it was a couple of years ago. He needs a few key personnel in his offensive structure, some big play people, and they could be right up there where they think they should be.
Well, I don't think I ever referred to it as coming along slow. I have great admiration for the guy, what he's done off the pass. There's no question he's going to do it. First, building his defense. He's had a very successful career coaching. At special team coach for George Allen at Los Angeles and Washington. Allen, who doesn't give credit to too many people, said that Levy's special teams were usually responsible for 3 wins a year.
And he also learns fast. I mean, if he sees the only way to win in this division is to put that ball up in the air more, I think he will do so.
You see Houston on a Pastorini pass extending its lead over the Oakland Raiders in a big game down at the Astrodome to 28-14. We're going to have more coming up on these big games on this, the 11th weekend of play. Fuller throws the ball upfield to Horace Belton. Fuller looked over things. Saw nothing open way down, so he went to Horace Belton a little bit low. Cleveland Browns down 16-0. Rally back again to take the lead. It's not over yet at Cleveland. They're leading Seattle 17-16.
How many times this year has Brian Sipe brought that team back? As we look at San Diego leading Cincinnati, they've come back from 14-0. Dan Fouts having a great year himself.
San Diego is down 14-0 in that game at Cincinnati, now leading 16-14. Here's Grupp, the NFL's leading punter. Levy is not hesitant to change if he sees a better player. He cut the third leading punter in the AFC last year and kept Grupp a free agent. Look what he's got, the leading punter in the league. T. Bell takes the kick, returns it back inside the 45-yard line. Al Peterson made the stop. Right now there's a break in the action here at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The Pittsburgh Steelers holding to a 23-3 lead, and we'll be back in a moment.
How many times have you wanted to pack it all in and take off? Well, with Hertz economy fares, the time to go is now. Our subcompacts are only $14.95 a day, weekends, and just $98 a week, all with free mileage. Larger cars are only $1 more a day, and if you rent for 3 weekdays or more, Hertz...
With John Brody, this is Don Criqui back at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Steelers have the ball. Pete Johnson has just scored for the Bengals at Cincinnati, and they've come from behind and lead San Diego 21-16. Now running the ball is Anderson for the Pittsburgh Steelers as some of the shock troops start to get work. That was Anthony Anderson, a rookie running back out of Temple. Steve Fuller getting some advice on the sideline. What are they saying to that headset?
Well, I don't know. They're giving him, he's looking for advice. You know that when it's 23-3. But, you know, he's very composed. He's, you know, they haven't put any points on the board. It's his first time out against the world champions. You know, he had a great senior year at Clemson. He was their first draft choice, and I think they made a wise one, and he looks like he will be a fine player.
The first choice that Kansas City had in the first round was Mike Bell, the great pass rusher from Colorado State. He's been out for some weeks with a knee injury. They thought they were going to get him back today, but the physician said you better keep him out one more week. He'll be back next week for the game at Oakland. Mike Bell, the number 2 player drafted in the last draft. Cousineau, number 1, going to Buffalo, or drafted by Buffalo. He promptly went to Montreal. It is New England and Denver coming up after this game on most of these NBC stations. We have 8:29 left to play in the fourth quarter here at Kansas City. The Steelers leading the Chiefs 23-3. Time permitting, we'll have a switch to New York and NFL 79 report on this, the 11th weekend of play in the 79 season. So right now, the Steelers have the ball first and 10, or second and 1. Second and 1 inside the 35-yard line. They go to the run, and Rick Moser, a big power back from Rhode Island. A second-year player, 225 pounds, special teams player, gets a call from scrimmage and hits ahead for a first down. So the Steelers keep that clock running now. The early diagnosis of Arnold Morgado is that he may have cracked a bone in his right ankle. Carrying the ball. You see the cast put on the foot already. Seattle has now come back. Al Hunter just ran for a touchdown, and Seattle is leading Cleveland after the Browns took the lead. It's 22-17 Seattle. The pass goes to Randy Grossman. He is inside the 25-yard line and down to the 23 where Gary Spanny knocks him down. Well, I tell you, they're not over till they're over, are they, in this league?
Well, sometimes they're not, but, you know, it's kind of surprising. Bradshaw's putting the ball up with 8 minutes left to play and a 20-point lead, but it's the personality of the Steelers. You almost get the feeling when the 11 guys are on the field, they're all trying to maintain their status as first string because they've got so many people behind them, and I still don't think he ever looks at the scoreboard or concerns himself with the score.
Jim Breach just kicked a field goal for Houston, or for Oakland. They now trail Houston 28-17. Anderson runs with the ball. Gets the ball inside the 20-yard line. On a second down and 3 play, Anthony Anderson takes the ball down to the 20-yard line. There is the score at the Astrodome. Houston holding to a 28-17 lead. We could, at the end of this day, have an 8-3 Houston team trailing the looks to be a 9-2 Pittsburgh team by a game in the AFC Central. A division that gets a lot of support is the toughest in the league.
Rightly so.
Clock is running here at Arrowhead Stadium. 6:15 to play in the game. The world champion Steelers looking to extend their 4th straight victory. All by impressive margins. Leading 23-3, they go back to the run and drive the ball inside the 20-yard line. Moser carries, and Mano Maliuna, the rookie linebacker, 4th-round draft choice from San Jose State, 54, makes the stop for the Chiefs. Next week, Kansas City heads out to Oakland, and the Pittsburgh Steelers also go west to take on the Chargers at San Diego.
And as people sit and they say, hey, as the year goes by, 4 or 5 or 6 wins, what difference does it really make? In Kansas City's case, it made a whole lot of difference last year. They finished 5th in their conference. As a result, instead of playing the NFC West, they have to play the AFC Central, and their schedule toughened up a whole bunch.
Very right. Another carry. Anderson dives down close to the 16-yard line on 2nd and 8. He got about 2. Art Still, 67, who's been on a load of tackles for Kansas City, makes that stop.
All right, here's a man that's played very good football. Spaney's been in behind the line of scrimmage on several occasions all day long. He looks to me to be an outstanding linebacker, the type of Jack Lambert. A few more people at a few more positions, and I think he might get that kind of recognition.
John, here's the first upset in for the day that's official. The Buffalo Bills have beaten the New York Jets 14-12 at Chase Stadium. Bradshaw looks into the end zone on 3rd and 7. Throws with a man hanging on his leg, and he's got Lynn Swan at the goal line. Guy had a hold of Bradshaw. Sylvester Hicks was trying to wrestle him down. Bradshaw, 218 pounds, stood there and rifled it with just the arm.
All right, here's a question for you. You know, they mentioned it so many times this year when somebody had a hold of a quarterback's leg, they ruled the ball dead. Now, Sylvester Hicks had Bradshaw by the leg for a good second or a second and a half. There was no whistle. As a result, he's big and strong, stood right up and almost threw a touchdown down to the 1-foot line to Swan. Those kind of big plays. I just wonder if officials sometimes look at who it is the defensive lineman has a hold of.
First and goal as Grossman goes in motion. They give up the middle. It doesn't look like they got there. The Steelers trying the heart of the Kansas City defense. Joe Green and Whitney Paul exchange. Not Joe Green, Larry Brown, and Whitney Paul. Art Still, number 67, was on the stop. He's been great today for Kansas City.
You bet. Kansas City has stuck their nose in there for 60 minutes of defense. They're down on the 1-foot line. They still don't think it's over.
The score stands 23-3. Pittsburgh Steelers in the lead. They led at the half 20-0. 3 minutes and 24 seconds left to play in the game. The clock is running here in the 4th quarter at Arrowhead Stadium. The Steelers have the ball inside the 1-yard line of Kansas City. Anderson and Franco Harris now in the game as the setback. Bradshaw swings it out. Man is open. Larry Brown, a former tight end and a tackle eligible, moves into the end zone and gets a touchdown on his first points of the season.
Well, he's got all those pads on his hands. You can see him trying to catch it with his elbows. He's just happy to have a ball in his arms in the end zone.
In a while, they moved him from tight end to offensive tackle, where he's developed into one of the best at the new position. So they go with the tackle eligible, and that will put the lid on and nail it shut if it wasn't long ago. It is 29-3 Pittsburgh. The extra point by Matt Barr, who's having a sensational day, also is good. And it is 30-3 Pittsburgh, and we'll be back at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City with the Pittsburgh kickoff after this. The Steelers have extended their lead to 30-3 down the stretch, and here's Matt Barr's kickoff. This one will carry down close to the 5-yard line. Steve Gaunty starts upfield, number 83. Gets toe in the sidelines. He's across the 30 and out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Coming up following this game on most of these NBC stations, you'll see the hard-charging Patriots take on the orange-crushed Denver Broncos in a battle between 2 top playoff contenders. Right now at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, we have 2 minutes and 52 seconds left to play in the game. Kansas City going to 3 wide receivers now, looking to get some points. The best they could do is a 42-yard field goal by Jan Stenerud. Steeler drops the throw. He's looking long. He's not going to get it away as he is hit and dropped. The whistle blows, signaling a sack before he went down. And in there to get him was Steve Furness, number 64.
I think we saw a pretty good indication right there that Furness had Fuller and he was in possession of him. Whistle was blown pretty quickly and he couldn't throw it.
Now the clock starts up again. It would stop briefly by the official with the quarterback down behind the line of scrimmage. Kansas City comes out of the huddle. Rudney is down over the ball. Here is a 31-17 score on the board now at Houston. Tony Fritz just kicked the field goal for the Oilers. On second down and 18, Fuller swings it out. Mike Williams has the ball, runs ahead. Steelers crash him down at about the 30-yard line. They got back some of the lost yardage, but not all of it. It's going to be third down and about 13. Dwight White, number 78, made the hit on Mike Williams.
And this is another thing you look at when you're looking at a quarterback. That time Fuller hung in there, until the three defensive linemen buried him. Still got the play off and allowed the screen to be effective.
We're going to take a break in the action here at Kansas City with the Steelers in the lead, 30-3. We'll be back in a moment.
This is a first class.
Ford leading 30-3. I'd like to thank our entire NBC crew here today, led by producer George Finkel and director Ken Fout, and also our fine crew in the booth, spotters Don Wilsey and Dave Smith, statistician Bill Wilsey. And a brother act going. A little brisk here in Kansas City. Temperature down close to 40, but it's a sunny day. Hadn't been a cloud in the sky. And Mike Kruzek is coming in now to finish up at quarterback for Pittsburgh. They pulled Bradshaw. His job done so very well once again. Handoff goes. Hawthorne, rookie running back from Baylor, the number 1 draft choice of the Steelers, takes the ball out to the 10. Bainey hit him. The Steelers, an absolutely awesome football team, and winning their last 4 games over Denver, Dallas, Washington, and today Kansas City. They've outscored those 4 opponents 124-20.
That's convincing.
Bradshaw finished today with 28 throws. He completed 16 for 231 yards. And, of course, he hit the 2 touchdown throws. Fuller is 7 for 15 for 79 yards. Starwood with 4 receptions for 89 yards. Swan caught 5 balls for 63. They each have a touchdown. Taylor's going to the run as we're inside a minute to play. 55 seconds left to go. And when it's over, report on NFL 79 and then out to Denver, Colorado, and an update. And the live action of the Patriots and the Broncos to Mile High Stadium. Or in the conclusion of this game after this.
Me, I take care of myself. Here and here.
That's why you skip.
As we return to Kansas City in live action, Greg Hawthorne runs the ball for the Steelers. He's knocked down by Spaney as time is running out. 50 seconds left to play. And the Steelers now, 4th down, coming up in 7, will punt the ball back to Kansas City, but Pittsburgh is in the lead 30-3. Here's a score that Steeler fans will view with more than mild interest. Sherman Smith has just run for another Seattle touchdown. And so Seattle, after leading Cleveland 16-0, then falling behind 17-16 to the Browns, Seattle now leads Cleveland in the 4th quarter with a lot of time left, 29-17. Just 9.5 minutes to play.
Had another 4th quarter score.
4th down coming up, 4th down and 7. So Colquitt, a 2-step punter, the only one in the league, is in the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Takes a little more time getting the ball off, but hits it well. Rocky Blyer is the up back to block. Spiral hit well downfield. With the ball is J.T. Smith. Looking and weaving. Here's the guy that's run 2 punts back for touchdowns this season, 188 yards out. Well, the knockdown is made by Dwayne Woodruff, number 49. And Kansas City takes over for one last time with 41 seconds left to play. Still unable to get in the end zone. Well, meanwhile, at Mile High Stadium, John, the Broncos and the Patriots are warming up. They're just about ready to tee it up.
Don, that's going to be a good one because right now there are 5 or 6 teams at 7-3 in this league, and To get to 8-3 is a big step for them and a good move to the playoffs. 7-4 puts them right back in the hunt. It looks like it's going to be a long way up for Oakland from now on. Looks like Houston is going to, in the process of getting a big win today. That'll put him in a position, at least, if Pittsburgh is to fall a little bit, to compete with them.
Fuller's completion to Marshall, and then there's the stopping of the clock as the Chiefs are allotted another timeout. 30 seconds left to go in the game. Second down and 6 will be coming up for Kansas City at the 40-yard line of Pittsburgh when the play is back in. Tough scheduling for both these teams next week. Kansas City moves out west to play an AFC Western Division opponent, the Raiders at Oakland. Raiders won't be too happy about all this, and they're down 31-17 at the moment at Houston. And the Pittsburgh Steelers go against San Diego. Marv Levy, after last week's game, says he thinks that San Diego is the best team in the AFC West, better than Denver.
Well, he may be right. There are 3 or 4 excellent teams in the AFC West, but this team, in my opinion, stands above all teams in the game of football. Somebody said something to the effect that the Dallas Cowboys were claiming to be the team of America. Pittsburgh players reacted to saying, all we want to be is the team for Pittsburgh. And in my opinion, there hasn't been a team come along like this group of guys since Green Bay in 1964, 5 and 6, and they may even surpass them.
I think if they met in the same field, they'd surpass them by about 3 touchdowns. Marshall had his hands on the ball. Donnie Shell covering on the play. An incomplete pass stops the clock with 25 seconds left to play in the game. We'll be updating all the scores and highlights from around the NFL with a report from NFL 79, time permitting, following the conclusion of this game. And then our NBC cameras move on out to Denver, Colorado. The Patriots and the Broncos ready to tee it up there in the NBC doubleheader game. Marshall goes out wide to the left. Fuller calling good control at quarterback. Maintaining himself well against an offensive, awesome defense of the Steelers. Fumble football, spoke too soon. Fuller lost the ball, and Robin Cole took it on the one hop. So the Steelers have it back with 17 seconds left. They'll come out and run the ball up the gut and run the game out. Got their 9th win of the season. Hard to believe they've lost any, but they've lost 2. 17-14 they were beaten, as you'll remember, by Philadelphia. At 37-14, they lost to Cincinnati. Bengals beneficiaries of 9 turnovers. That's a season full for Pittsburgh.
Well, I think when you know, that's a statistic, as you mentioned. They lead the league in turnovers. I think that will disprove that old theory that the more you turn the ball over, the less effective your team can be. And I think it just indicates these guys come out from pillar to post, firing the ball at you, making things happen. When you do that, you create a few turnovers. But so what? You win a lot of ball games.
Another interesting aspect of that, John, is invariably the most penalized team in the NFL every year is one of the best teams. A lot of years it's Oakland. Aggressive. Well, that's going to do it. The clock is ticking out. The Kansas City Chiefs fall to the powerful Pittsburgh Steelers 30-3. The best place to have Pittsburgh is right off your schedule. Kansas City doesn't have to play them again anyway. That's where you want the Steelers. You got them where you want them when you have them off the schedule, I think. So for John Brody, this is Don Criqui. Glad you could be with us at Kansas City. Doubleheader football coming up on NBC.